in detention. It was Ifeajuna's unilateral, personal and short-sighted flight to Ghana that made the propagandists of Gowon's regime to spread the false notion that our coup was sponsored by Ghana. But nothing could be further from the truth. Much as many of us admire the militant anti-imperialism and pan-Africanism of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, we certainly realized that he was a bourgeois revolutionary. He was by no means a soldier statesman, the type that Nasir was, who could inspire young military revolutionaries as we were. Nkrumah, to my mind, was not really a socialist. At best, he was a totalitarian welfareist. He did not mobilize or educate the masses of Ghana. If our own revolution had taken off, we really would have had a very little in common with Nkrumah, except the idea of Pan-Africanism, which was not peculiar to him, and which he pursued in his own personal and self-aggrandizement manner. Ifeajuna did not return to Nigeria until late March 1966, by which time the revolutionary child which he helped to conceive and which he did so much to bring to life had died. Anuforo left for Enugu to see his family. Over there, he met Major Chukwuka, who had not been allowed to return to his former duty in Lagos, but was being hunted. Before long, both were invited to the army barracks where they were arrested and sent to Lagos for detention at Kirikiri. 2 weeks after the arrest of Uzeogu, Owatuegu and I were invited that I was extremely dangerous. The British police officer in charge summoned me to a special room. Then he called a few policemen who were in mufti and winked to them. They suddenly surrounded me and dealt heavy blows on me. I did not struggle with them. They pushed me to the floor and pressed me down. I thought they would produce a knife and cut my throat, but they ransacked my pockets and pants and gleefully declared no weapons. After that, they chained my hands, took me to a waiting Land Rover, to which Owatuegu was also brought, chained but not assaulted. We were driven to the airport from where we were flown to Lagos and detained inside the maximum security prison, Kirikiri prison. Captain Ude was quietly arrested and sent to the same prison to join us. Thus, the first revolutionary child of Nigeria died completely. But why did it die? 4 important reasons were responsible for this. The first was the fickleness of some of us who planned and executed the coup. An officer like Don Okafor was from the ranks. He joined the army in 1951 and was not commissioned until 1960. As such, he had spent a longer part of his career in the ranks and had developed a conservative attitude. It would have been different if he grasped the principles of revolutionism and was himself fundamentally revolutionary. He was the commander of the Federal Guards by appointment, and that made his consent to the revolution invaluable. I had always been skeptical about his ability to perform. On more than 3 different occasions, I expressed my doubt to Ifeajuna and suggested that he put a more dynamic officer in charge of such a sensitive duty as arresting the GOC. I even volunteered myself, but he was adamant. He claimed that he was sure that Okafor would do that assignment faithfully, and that in any case, he had a captain to help him. More than anything else, it was the failure of Okafor's mission that cost us the loss of Lagos, and consequently of the revolution. All the same, it must be admitted that if Nronsi was away from his residence and he had shooting going on elsewhere, he might not return home but act exactly as he did. In that case, it was Okafor's misfortune to have missed his most important target. The next most important cause of our failure was the behavior of Ifeajuna himself. Having seen that Nronsi had got loose and was already raising troops against us, Ifeajuna took Okafor with him, and both of them suddenly disappeared from our midst. This raised the serious question of whether or not there was a common collusion between the two of them, and whether Okafor's failure to arrest the GOC was not a case of deliberate or willful omission. To my mind, and to be quite honest, Ifeajuna should have been angry with Okafor the same way that I was angry with him. Then, if Ifeajuna had been faithful to me like I was to him, it should have stuck to me, and both of us together would have planned the next line of action. This ought to be the natural course of things, because Ifeajuna and I had worked together alone on this Lagos sector project for the previous 3 months, and more or less to the exclusion of the other majors who were brought in individually as the need for them arose. Why the sudden change of front? This matter later brought a serious argument between myself and Ifeajuna when we were both detained together at Uyo prison. That was in early April 1966, a few weeks after he had been repatriated to Nigeria. This argument became so serious that both of us exchanged blows, and it was Dr. Mbanugo, then a political detainee in the same prison, who separated us. After the fight, we came together and became friends again. The action of Ifeajuna on the morning of the coup was definitely questionable, but it could hardly be blamed for treachery. It seemed more like a weakness of character. After all, he successfully carried out his own task and part of Okafor's tasks. That was excellent. It only remained for both of us together to solve another Okafor's problems. Actually, the time we were preparing for the coup, Ifeajuna was holding such a sensitive post in the army that within our own group, it was the pivot on whom the Lagos operation turned. Since I was privy to all these plans and he kept no secret from me, I ruled out treasury, probably after doing his own bit. The next action seemed too much for him, and he suddenly chose to seek safety in flight. If that was the case, he must be forgiven because he is now dead. As for Don Okafor, I have already expressed something about his shortcomings, but those who would rather accuse him of double dealing should ask themselves, why did the same Okafor fail to arrest Brigadier Malari? I feel sure that even Alex Maidiebo, the arch reactionary who saw red in the Lagos revolutionaries, could not give a cogent reasons for the failure of Don Okafor to deal with Malari, as Maidiebo claimed that Okafor had boasted. As for me, I did not hear Okafor making such a boast, but I cannot swear to it that he did not make it. It was not that close to me. In conclusion, I would say that Don Okafor was just incompetent to carry out such revolutionary tasks as were given to him, and that choosing him for such a delicate task was totally unfortunate. It accounted in no small measure for our loss of Lagos and the consequent loss of the revolution. The third reason for the death of the revolution was the preponderance of the forces of reaction. Why was it that there were very few senior officers in the planning and execution of the revolution? Simply because the upper echelon of the officer corps was crowded with reactionaries and revisionists. There were no less than 20 Nigerian officers in the ranks of majors and above by October 1965. But less than 10 were ready and willing to take part in the revolution. The remainder were either nonchalant or totally apathetic. Of the 10 that were ready and willing, those ones are also compromised, to take part, only 7 were really revolutionary and willing to work for the building of a new social order. The only senior revolutionary officer who was not brought into the planning at all was Lieutenant Colonel Banjo. This was because he held the view that the revolution should have a broader military base and an initial political base. On the contrary, I believe that any attempt to broaden the base or initiate political support will compromise the security of the planning and lead to our utter destruction. My stand was vindicated a few months later when during the Civil War, Major Banjo planned to invade Ibadan, but first of all, made contact and preparation through civilians. His planning was, meanwhile, just so you know, that Major Banjo is the Major Banjo that ended up fighting on the side of the Biafra with Ojukwu. Okay? He was the one that was leading that Biafran army that was leading them to Lagos from the east, that Banjo. and against the order of Ojukwu, against the advice of the Biafran war. They could, you know, when they were fighting the Biafran war, they had a group called something similar to like the Military Supreme Council of Biafra. Okay, they make decisions, they give orders. So that banjo that you are hearing here, right, is the same banjo when the civil war started. You know, he fought on behalf of on the side of the Biafrans, and he was the one who was leading that war to Lagos that got stopped at Ore. All right, that today they are telling you the Biafrans were leading war to Lagos. The Igbos, they wanted to go and capture Lagos. The Yoruba man that was leading that Biafran soldiers to Lagos, his name is Major Banjo, just so you know. But you're going to hear more about him in the subsequent reading, okay? But this is them as part of the reactionary soldiers instead of revolutionary soldiers of that time. His planning was compromised, and according to this report, right, they said that plan failed because Banjo was he was confident that he could use the civilians to plan that invasion of Lagos. Because number one, there was actually no reason for Biafra to come to Lagos. You know, that's one thing, that their propaganda on why you should hate the Igbos, especially if you are Yoruba, the reason why you should hate the Igbos, why that propaganda really sell very well is that, okay, you are fighting Biafra war to have your own country and all of that. Why do you bring Biafrans to? Why do you want to bring Biafrans to Yoruba land? Why do you bring the soldiers? Why do you want to bring the soldiers to Yoruba land? It was a Yoruba man who defied order of Ojukwu. And at the end, it wasn't the only person. He was executed for treason, by the way. He was shot and killed before the end of the war for disobeying Ojukwu or disobeying the command. All right. So let us continue. Yeah, he was executed after being found guilty of what do you call it? Of insubordination or something like that. So he was executed. He was killed. They even use propaganda whenever they want to talk to you, the Yorubas, who are not interested in being bigots or who are not buying their bigotry. They will say, we continue supporting the Igbo, but continue supporting the Igbo. Even a Yoruba man that fought for them, they killed him. They killed that. No, that's not what happened. This is what they have succeeded in doing, in manipulating your history. Okay? A majority of those you probably saw as hero or what have you, they are like proper villains. Those you saw as villains, they are like real heroes to some extent, okay? But that's how they manage to manipulate the history in order to meet a certain agenda. A lot of people grew up to believe all these stories. The Biafrans, they killed Banjo, or the Biafrans want to take over Yoruba land. That's not what happened. And Banjo, according to them, they said Banjo in his mind believed that he could use some fraction of Nigerian soldiers to invade Lagos, the seat of power, remove Ojukwu, and possibly end the war. On his own volition, he decided to move the soldiers. He was not ordered to. That was the Biafra war. The Biafrans and the rest of they have nothing to do with the Yoruba land until Banjo moved their soldiers under Ojukwu. But let's continue. So his planning was compromised. His planning was compromised and the whole effort wasted. Nevertheless, it is still consistently alleged that some civilians helped us with the planning or with the coup. Let me declare it categorically here and now that the allegation is totally false and had no basis. Our outlook, program, and motivation did not call for the participation of civilians at the formative stage. As for Lieutenant Colonel Fajuyi, it would have been immensely useful to us if he was around. As our preparations warmed up, it was no longer possible to make contact with him, and so he did not take part. All the same, when he later joined Ironsi's military government as the governor of the Western region, he remained the one unwavering spokesman for the coup and for the revolutionary officers. His singular stand became so well known that we, in detention, knew it when Azan reportedly turned around and dubbed Fajuyi an action grouper. thus marking him for elimination come their July 29, 1966 counter coup. It was the preponderance of reaction and conservatism among the senior army officers that made our revolution to receive little or no support among them after our first strike. It was the preponderance of reactions around Nzeogu that checkmated his desire to further the cause of the revolution after its initial success. It was the preponderance of reactions that made it easy for the reactionaries to fold up our revolution even without striking a blow against us. It was as if we moved a motion in a gathering of senior officers, while the junior officers were standing around in the gallery watching. Our motion, of course, was revolutionary and popular. Hence, the junior officers cheered and applauded and rejoiced in support and shouting, "Fire, fire, fire." The older ones who were really occupying the floor frowned in consternation. And the chairman, knowing the feeling of the house, said, "In that case, let us put it to the vote." It was put to vote. We were overwhelmingly defeated. So we agreed to fold it up. The fourth reason for the failure of the revolution was that Nigeria was not yet ready for it. This was easy to see. The preponderance of reactions in the army simply reflected the preponderance of reactions in the country. Those army officers who worked resolutely to destroy our revolution were typical Nigerians. They were very much like their civilian counterparts. But the young officers were different. They were enthusiastic for change and they would carry on the revolutionary flame as long as they were rightly channeled along the path of it. That was the reason why I was confident that we would have succeeded if we had fought from Kaduna. We would then have eliminated both men and forces of opposition and revision. It was also for this reason that Nzeogu declared that we were prepared to lose 1 million men to ensure the success of our revolution. We would certainly have won, even if we had to sacrifice a lot. To succeed in such a circumstance in their own country, Russians, with only about twice the Nigerian population, sacrificed more than 2 million people. China, in their own turn, sacrificed several millions. Now, leaving the army officers alone, why was it that the average Nigerian was concerned first and foremost for himself and next for his family? Why was it that the usual attitude of the Nigerian is to grab and grab and grab? Why was it that the Nigerian does not care about things that did not touch him personally? While the people on top use their power to benefit themselves and their families, why did the people below aspire to do more than get to the top simply to follow suit? Why? So that is going to be the end of chapter 5. It's a very long read, though. So now we have chapter 6, we have chapter 7, you know, the Liberation Army, we have Irosime's adventure, we have chapter 8, it's up to chapter 8 too. Hang on, where is that? Yes. So we've got chapter 8, chapter 9, jungle justice. So we'll deal with that, not tomorrow, but it's going to be maybe next time we are reading, okay? So the next book that we should not forget, except if you choose that we should finish this and then continue with this. We plan to be mixing them together, right? Anyway, so that's going to be me. I'm going to take a break and then I'm going to take calls. What's the time? I don't even know if it does. Okay, what happened is this. I'm going to take calls for another 30, 40 minutes, okay? Then we'll wrap it up. I'll go get ready for later this evening, okay? Thank you so much for being, thank you so much for listening. I don't know if, sorry, one second. No, we will rather keep it, okay? What we're going to do is that we will keep it as it is. And yeah, somebody said one at a time. Okay, we'll do it one at a time. So we're going to finish this. We will continue from chapter 6. Okay. So we will continue from chapter 6, and that will be next time. So history, yeah, if you pay attention, if you have the time to actually, if you care to dig into the history, the purpose of digging into history is to make sure that we are not prisoners of our own history. These are things that happened and shaped Nigeria to what Nigeria is today. Okay? History repeating itself, we have seen that. Okay? We have seen that. However, we are people who want to learn from our own history so that we do not repeat them like those who are currently in charge. Hello there.
Hello, my good general.
Hey, Babu. How are you? Is that CA?
CA from Atlanta,
that
yes.
CA from Atlanta. So you are with us today. Yeah. How are you today, Baba?
Yeah, fine. It's exactly 11:21 a.m. on a rainy day in Atlanta.
21
a.m. A rainy day, very rainy day in Atlanta. Rainy, right. Yes. Mayogo, you are wonderful, Mayogo. It's an amazing read, man. It's amazing. It was smooth.
Yeah.
Attention catching. Yeah. Man, it's amazing.
Like it's not too fast.
Sometimes when you read, you don't know.
It's not too fast.
No, it's not perfect. Perfect. It's amazing. It's perfect.
So I'm a good reader. Then I'm a good reader. Yeah.
I tell you, it's not easy to do what you're doing. You're a good reader. Trust me. It is clear, perfect. You know, you can follow the sequence. It is amazing.
Like you can be doing something and you can just listen in and yes. It just sound like your radio is like something is coming from there. You can tell that person is reading, but the history is like telling a story, right?
Yes, I'm at work. I don't put my headphone, you know, and just went through. I went through the Facebook, you know. I just put the work phone and my phone, in my ear. And I'll just it was clear and
I just love reading that. Okay, the English the words are not too harsh to pronounce and all that, so it was easy.
Yes,
and it's so communicative too. I think. CA.
So this tells you the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria didn't start today. It's been a long time coming.
A long one, Baba. A long one. Our ancestors they be mess.
Yes. So look at that speech. Look at the speech. 10%. The same thing happening today has been happening way back then. The nepotism, the tribalism, the feudal system, the north, the same thing, everything. So that tells you the Nigeria problem has been a perennial problem. It has been since day one. Since day one of the inception of contraption, putting together of that contraption called Nigeria. And that's why I'm always angry with people who allow politicians to use them through ethnic division. There's no Igbo man, there's no Hausa man, there's no Yoruba man. We have two major people. The people and the thieves who call themselves politicians that are in power.
That's always been like this. It has always been
like this. It doesn't matter if the politician, I'm an Igbo man. But God forbid me to support somebody like Anuzo Jokano or somebody like Hope Uzodimma. These are terrible idiots. So why would I now kill myself because he's an Igbo man? That's okay. Uzo should be a president because he's an Igbo man. I should vote for him. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. When I know there will be no benefit. So people just allow themselves to be used. And it's unfortunate that people think, even those that you think that are intelligent, professors. I told this story before. I left from my university system. I called the professor one day before the election, not this last election, the one before this one, before this charade. And we were talking, I said, Showore. He said, no. Showore is a small boy. What does he know? I was shocked.
Professor.
I was shocked. And he said, small boy, don't have the experience. What does he know? He doesn't have the capacity. And I said, okay, Buhari has the capacity because he's old or what? So the mentality of Nigerians sometimes is just baffling.
Another thing I have learned from this, what I am learning from this story now, history now, is that, you see, when you are trying to create a solution to a problem, okay, there are people that are going to pretend that they are with you. But meanwhile, they are actually looking for the loophole where they can help sabotage it, okay? Maybe for
the situation,
to take advantage of it and use that. It didn't start. That's something I just said there. That my Debo.
No, it didn't start today.
My Debo they mentioned several times here.
Look at how smooth. Look at how smooth it was.
The mind of Uzo. Now Uzo Good today is not even like reported in Nigerian history as somebody that they were so proud of until that last
nationalistic. Yes.
But today, when they talk about they talk about the coup. Oh, they killed this or that.
The coup.
The guy that was actually like a hero.
That's all. Eh? It's an Igbo coup. It's an Igbo coup. He killed this, he killed that, he killed that.
A man whose parents came from Asaba. Migrated and he was born in Kaduna, grew up there.
Kaduna.
Hausa more than he will speak any Asaba language. Not even anything to do with Igbo. But he was actually like a hero. He was a brilliant chap guy. But they tricked him that last minute. Somebody took advantage of that. They even brought his friend from abroad, from London, to come and talk to him, or to deceive him and lure him into his death. For, I learned something from that one. When I'm planning to do something good, not be everybody where they come around and say, I love you. I love what you are doing. Let's do. Not be all of them love you. Chances.
Mayego, I was watching a documentary yesterday about that footballer, Pogba.
Pogba.
Do you know that it was his own brothers, blood brothers, that conspired against this guy? His senior brother went and collected some guys. They ambushed him, wanted to rip him, extort him of $13 million. His own blood brother, senior brother. He said that he said in his interview, he said, the people that will kill you are those that are closest to you. That's what he said.
Closest to you. People are close.
Congratulations, well done for the job. It's amazing.
You have a good one, sir.
It's amazing.
So see you from Atlanta. God bless you, bro. So there we go. There we have it. Normally the number is right there on the screen. Okay, yeah, it's right there. You can try WhatsApp. You can try direct. It's up to you. It's easier. Just copy it. Hello there.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm fine, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you too. I would think that it should be nearly afternoon at yours there anyway.
No, this is evening in Dubai.
It is evening.
So,
pardon me.
Yeah,
I was looking at another number, not yours. Anyway, it is evening. But how is it going?
Yeah. Michael,
Baba?
Fine. Thank God. How is the family, your wife, your children?
We thank God too.
Hope they're fine.
Thank you.
My regards to them.
Thank you.
And like I said last time we spoke, I told you I always watch your program because you are doing a very wonderful job. Which we have very people that will do it. Very few people that can do it. Very few.
Thanks, man.
So I appreciate your effort and the strength for you to continue. You understand? Because some people many people may have been deviated from saying the truth.
I know.
You know?
And it is easier to actually deviate these days, especially.
Yes.
It's a grace.
Because we in Dubai here, we even have people that speak for us before, but most of them they are now on their own because they have paid them off. So they don't care anymore.
They don't.
Yeah, but based on today's program, what I want to chip in is all these things is history, Mayogu.
That's right.
All these are histories. And me now, I'm a graduate from primary school, secondary school, university, NCE and degree level. They will not teach us all these things in history in schools. They will never teach us all these things.
You have to find out by yourself.
They boycott all these things in our Nigerian history in school. Most of our students don't know about these things. I'm telling you. Because they know that the community there's the sabotage, the damage, the killing of Igbos, the hatred. So how can we come up and start teaching the children about these things in history? So they purposely just remove it from Nigerian history. And they will teach us something else.
Just move on with it like that. Yes. Do you know what the Igbos did?
Yeah.
Do you know what the Igbos did? The Igbos planned the first one. I was like, are you educated at all? What do you mean? Do you know the history? I heard it from my grandma. Oh dear, man. God.
I'm telling you, Nigerian government
people. You see that part, eh? You see that part that mentioned that banjo, that major banjo or something, right? It's such a very crucial sort of event. That's very vital. And the fact that it was also mentioned towards the end of that chapter I read there is also very, very important, okay? Because Ojukwu was in Kano. Banjo was in Kaduna with them. But somehow, Ojukwu and Banjo, who are very close to Ironsi, when Ironsi finally got Nzogu and all of these revolutionaries locked up, right? Nzogu moved Ojukwu from there to Kaduna, I mean, from Kano to the east. Now, that's the Ojukwu that was like neither here nor there when the revolution